Video number 368. In this video lecture, I am going to discuss issues related to the measurement of development. And these issues are, for example, we may ask a number of questions like how can we distinguish between less developed countries and developed countries, or developing countries and developed countries? How can we measure the level of development? There are many ways to differentiate between developing and developed countries and measuring development. However, the issue of measuring development has been very controversial, and our thinking has evolved over time, and the debate is still going on. The most commonly and wide used measure of development is per capita income of a country. Per capita income of a country is equal to the total national income divided by population, and it may indicate the purchasing power of the residents of that country, and it also measures how much goods and services residents of a country can purchase. And there are two measures of per capita income which are commonly used. One is based on gross national income and the other one is based on gross domestic product. Both GNI and GDP, that is gross national income, and GDP, gross domestic product, measure the overall level of economic activity, and both of them are closely related. For example, if you know one, you can calculate the value of another. For example, if we subtract income from abroad from gross national income, then what is left is known as gross domestic product, or gross national income is equal to GDP plus net income from abroad. Per capita income usually proxied by either GNI per capita or GDP per capita. According to this definition, developing countries are countries with low per capita income, and developed countries are those where per capita income is higher. The problem of economic development is simply to increase the per capita income of developing countries, which is essentially the problem of growth. So it means that if we increase per capita income of those countries, then we can say that growth is occurring in developing countries. One of the major problems with using per capita income is that such per capita income comparison exaggerates the differentials in the standard of living between less developed countries and developed countries. Recall that what matters for the well-being is the amount of goods and services one can purchase. The amount of goods and services one can purchase depend upon two things. Number one, income level, and number two, the price level. Same amount of income buys different goods in developing and developed countries. Same amount of money may buy fewer goods and services if prices are high as compared to the case when prices are low. This implies that if we ignore differences in the price level across various countries of the world, then just the comparison of per capita income across countries can give a misleading picture of differences in the standard of living. So it turns out that on average, prices in developing countries are lower as compared to prices in developed nations. For example, $1 spent in a less developed country buys more goods and services than in developed countries because prices in developing countries are lower than prices in the developed country, and this is because of the relatively low labor cost in the developing countries. Researchers have tried to take into account such price differences across countries, and they have developed the concept of PPP, that is purchasing power parity, and it is calculated using a common set of international prices for all goods and services produced, valuing goods in all countries at US prices. According to per capita income, the World Bank has defined low-income countries as those having a per capita gross income of $875 or less in 2005, and high income countries having income of 10,726 or above. Countries with income of 875 and more but less than 3,465 are classified as lower middle income countries, and countries with income between 3,465 and 10,726 are classified as upper middle income countries. This is the classification of World Bank based on per capita income. All the countries other than high income countries are classified as developing nations or developing countries. Most of the high income countries are located in Western Europe and North America, as well as Australia and New Zealand and Japan. On the other hand, most of the low income countries are located in Africa and Asia. Population wise, the largest concentration of low income people is in South Asian countries, and most of the countries in South America and Eastern Europe are middle income countries. We may say that the belief that rising tide lifts all boats, that is, growth benefits everybody. It means that if you grow per capita income or the GNP or GDP of a country, then it benefits everybody. But many countries have high per capita income, but they are not developed. And economists and social scientists believe that defining developing countries just on the basis of per capita income is very limited and can be misleading. Changes in per capita income do not reflect structural change. One may have high growth rate in per capita income without any structural transformation. So it means that if there is a increase in the per capita income, growth may be occurring there, but since there will be no structural transformation, so there will be no development there. So their views received a great deal of support from the growth experiences of developing countries in the 50s and the 60s. In these decades, many developing countries emphasized on increasing their per capita income rapidly as a way to get out of underdevelopment. Regarding measures of development, economists have defined different development indices. One of them is Gender Development Index, and it measures achievements in same capabilities as Human Development Index, but takes into account inequalities between women and men. GDI, that is Gross Domestic Index, can be thought of as a discounted Human Development Index. Then we have Gender Empowerment Measure, GEM, which examines whether women and men are able to actively participate in economic and political life and take part in decision making or not. AK, Sen and Tudero's stance is somewhat different. Sen focused on capabilities approach, and we have already discussed that in greater detail, whereas Tudero emphasized on three core values of development that has already been discussed in a separate video earlier. So we have already discussed these two in our previous videos on this channel. Now we come to the idea of a Human Development Index. Human Development Index is an attempt to capture the broader view of development that development involves not only increase in per capita income but also expansion of the capabilities of individuals. Human capital in terms of education and health is one of the most important determinants and indicator of capability of an individual. They capture important aspects of socio-economic development of countries and the well-being of individuals. In 1990, the United Nations Development Programme developed an index which reflects development in per capita income as well as human capital. This new index was known as Human Development Index and is published annually by the UNDP in their Human Development Reports. Then we have the idea of Millennium Development Goals and Sustainable Development Goals, and I would like to discuss these in a separate video. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching this video. If you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, kindly do subscribe and do not forget to click on bell icon so that you can get a notification about future videos that will be uploaded on this channel. Thank you once again. See you in another video.